We're now going to turn to the third class of reactions, which is precipitation reactions. And it's an unusual area of material for Chem 2070. We will not be able to explain the rules which govern precipitation reactions. We'll not be able to derive the rules from theory. Precipitation reactions are very much controlled by concepts that you will learn in Chem 2080. Instead, what we're going to do is give you the rules, and there are 6 rules, which is just a list short enough that you can memorize them. And it turns out once you've memorized them, they'll be like handy tools, and you can use them in deductive processes. So you are going to have to memorize these rules. And I've been thinking about in this year, because you'll have open internet exams, is there going to be a way that you could not memorize them? And I've come to the conclusion, no. You're still going to have to memorize them, because only when they're memorized, like the multiplication table, will you be able to do the problems fast enough to be able to do the necessary deductions. So with that caveat, what are the rules? There are 6 of them, and they are in order of importance. Rule number 1 takes precedence over rules 2 through 6. Rule number 3 takes precedence over rules 4 through 6, and so forth. And this is straight out of your textbook, the 6 rules, and there's just a lot of terminology. You see in rule number 1 the word salt. This is from your textbook. A salt means it's an ionic compound. So there's an alkali metal. And rule 1 says alkali metal salts and ammonium salts are soluble. Ammonium is NH4+. Okay. Rule number 2 says nitrates, acetates, and perchlorates are soluble. Nitrates are NO3-, acetates are CH3, CO2-, and perchlorates are ClO4-. Those are the 2 most important rules, and they're both telling you these things are always soluble. The first for cations and the second for the anions. We then get to rules 3 and 4. Rule 3 is a rule about what things are not soluble, insoluble. And it tells you that silver, lead, and mercury +1 metal salts, ionic compounds, are insoluble. And then chlorides, bromides, and iodides are soluble. And remember, rule number 3 has precedence over rule number 4. And chloride, bromide, and iodide refers to Cl-, Br-, and iodide-. Rule 5 is the longest, and it's got the most nomenclature. Okay. Carbonates, chromates, sulfides, oxides, phosphates, and hydroxides are insoluble. Well, first, what the heck are they? Carbonates are CO3 2-. Chromates are CO4 2-. Sulfides are S2-. Oxides are O2-. Phosphates are PO4 3-. You can see this is a horrible area. Hydroxides are OH-, and sulfates are SO4 2-. And they are all insoluble. It's fairly low on the list. That's rule number 5. And then there's an exception. The hydroxides of the 3 amigos, exactly, barium 2+, calcium 2+, and strontium 2+, are slightly soluble. In this course, we'll just say they are soluble. The hydroxides, barium hydroxide, calcium hydroxide, strontium hydroxide, are soluble. And the 3 amigos then figure out in rule number 6, which is the reverse. Almost all sulfates are soluble, with the exception of the 3 amigos. Calcium sulfate, barium sulfate, and strontium sulfate are all insoluble. And that is just so much material. We should stop this clip right now.